Classic WoW is going to be released this summer, and the argument for hashtag no changes has been the staple for vanilla players. Until recently. I'm not sure if it's because the hype has died down, or Blizzard's tanking as a company and people have lost interest, or maybe, just maybe, the vanilla fanboys are taking off those rose-tinted glasses and coming back to reality. I myself, have to admit, am a vanilla fanboy. I always have been since day one. I refused to play consoles or shooters with my friends growing up. No, vanilla was the love of my life. So of course, with the announcement of Classic this summer, I want my old high school lover back exactly the way she was when she was 16 years old. Hashtag no changes. But that's like a fantasy, right? A fairy tale. That's why it's called dreaming. I'd be considered mental, a madman to think this was possible, right? And would it really even be the best decision? I mean, the year is 2019, not 2004. So I've been in my thoughts lately over this topic, and I actually took a step back and thought for myself without those glasses on, and I was surprised at what this vanilla fanboy came up with. So if we take the hashtag no changes approach and Blizzard replicates the game exactly as it was in patch 1.12, the game would be great. There's no question about that. It would have a longer lifespan than what vanilla actually was, which was 785 days, and they could just host a 1.12 server with no additions for years, and people would pay that sub fee every month, no doubt. Now that sounds practical, and maybe why there's such an uproar to have it that way without Activision getting their grubby little hands all over something good and ruining it with their microtransactions. Look guys, vanilla WoW had so much depth, not a single player came close to completing the game in its entirety. It's literally impossible to do in 2 years. Everyone wants another shot at doing this, and it's why so many people fall into the category of wanting to just play the game as it was. Hashtag no changes. Now our definition of completion may be different, but I don't consider clearing all the raids and having the best in slot for one character to be completing the game. Professions had so much depth to them, and their aid in the leveling process and mount and recipe drops were so insanely low you could dedicate months at a time on obtaining a single item. You could make up a million different challenges and scenarios of things to do in vanilla because the game was designed that way. Just look at the Iron Man challenges, all the different level twinking brackets. Similar things like these were possible to do because of the depth of the game. Now this builds the basis for my argument, but before we get to that, first we have to look at what additions ruined that vanilla experience over the years and what has caused WoW to be in the turmoil state that it's in. Obviously, number one is flying. It was the 2007 version of Garrisons, and it completely destroyed human interaction and discovery with the PvE content. Cross-realm battlegrounds and phasing over the years took away the familiarity with the community, and the game slowly continued to become all about you. Battle.net, again, took away from the immersion and fantasy of being in a world of Alliance versus Horde. Now you can whisper the opposing faction who just ganked you. Give me a break. Transmog. I'll leave that one up to you boys in the comment section. And then achievements. Now I'm not sure how I feel about achievements. It was added way down the road in Wrath of the Lich King, but the community, what I would consider current vanilla players at the time, I don't think had a problem with this addition. It was kind of nice, and it just added value to completing major feats in the game. It's funny because I remember being a kid and this was one of the few changes I liked. Now you may think a 12-year-old boy wouldn't know what a good change was, but I'll tell you what, this one did. I remember logging back into the game, I think it was sometime during Wrath of the Lich King, and I remember finding out you could obtain your first mount at level 20. What? Oh, I was pissed. You mean to tell me everyone gets a huge shortcut to the game? And it wasn't just 20 levels either. In comparison, 1 to 20 took a quarter of the time it took from 20 to 40. And to do all that higher level content without a mount, sheesh. I digress. Let's be real, guys. part of the reason Vanilla WoW thrived in its heyday was because it was a new experience to everyone. That was a huge element to the game's success. But hear me out. I'm not downplaying the results of private servers and the demand for the original game. I think the game would do just fine for the first 5 years if it were released exactly as it was in patch 1.12 and not touched. And that's where a lot of vanilla fanboys draw the line. That's as far as they're willing to go. And I agree with you, it would be amazing to have it as it was. But it wasn't until I sucked up my pride as an exclusive Vanilla WoW fanboy that I saw the possibilities of a new experience. A better one than we had in 2005. Guys, Vanilla WoW was unfinished. Unfinished. Incomplete. The devs cut a ton of content from Vanilla, and I guarantee you they would have added it if they could. Frankly, they needed to. And it was a mistake that the world wasn't larger than it already was. You see, I don't think any of those other changes that I stated earlier were the main reason for WoW's downward spiral in the last 10 years. It was expansions. Expansions allowed the devs to fit in the content that weren't originally able to fit into Vanilla, like a complete experience of Naxxramas, the Dark Portal event, the Hydral Zone. The list goes on, but fundamentally, what an expansion did was focus the entire game into a 2 to 3 year period that the devs worked on and pretty much excluded the original 10 years worth of work they'd put into Vanilla WoW. It wasn't the same game anymore. Yeah, the Burning Crusade was cool, but just because it was new and allowed everyone to feel as if they were on a level playing field for the first time since they'd joined Vanilla after its release. They added a new race, but not even a new class, and again, just a ton of raids that seemingly could have been added into Vanilla. The devs just didn't have the time to make it happen. From my understanding, the raids were epic in Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. That's really all these expansions had to offer. Now, imagine if they'd just added all of those additional raids to the vanilla world with patch changes and not expansions. They didn't raise the level cap, and that would avoid the huge power creep that we saw from each expansion and keep all the previous world content much more relevant. One small example of these are the leatherworking proficiencies that were in Vanilla WoW. Tribal, Elemental, and Dragon Scale leatherworking. They could have continued to add new patterns to these skills, but instead, with each expansion, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, and eventually Cataclysm, these in-game leatherworking skills were obsolete. They were no more. It was just leatherworking. Expansions were the downfall of Vanilla WoW. Vanilla WoW was actually unfinished. This is a chance for Blizzard to finish the game just like we never got the chance to finish the game. Imagine a vanilla world with additional raids that were planned but never got implemented, like Grim Batol, Caverns of Time. I think it's fair to say Hydral was going to be some type of massive raid. What about the unfinished zones and areas such as the space east of Burning Steppes, or the huge chunk of land north of Eastern Plaguelands? Heck, even finishing up Silithus and Azshara would be nice. The Undermine. There were huge plans of having this awesome neutral Goblin City implemented into Vanilla WoW. Not an expansion. Who knows? Maybe the Ashbringer would have made an appearance down the road if we had seen Vanilla develop and mature at a normal rate, and not like the rate of kids nowadays. I remember it was speculated that there would be a quest found in ghost form similar to the attunement in Blackrock Depths, and that's how you obtain the Ashbringer. Who knows? These are all additions to the original world. This would preserve Vanilla WoW's huge foundation and make it possible to see a brand new Vanilla WoW for everyone that played Vanilla. The true version of Vanilla WoW. Now, why can't all of this work? Well, first of all, the lore would have to be completely rewritten, and it would require an elite team to make this awesome utopia a reality. That's the thing. This could have happened. Classic WoW could have been a second chance for Blizzard to fix everything they did wrong over the years. The problem is, there is no elite team like there was, and there is no Blizzard like there was. It's called Activision. It's full of new age, money-hungry, fun-sucking idiots. The furthest thing from gamers. There will never be a Blizz like vanilla WoW. The closest thing to a Blizz like experience is probably going to be found on some crappy ripped-off private server. It hurts my soul to say this, but Classic WoW will be Activision-like. Full of WoW tokens, and within a year's time, a pet and mount store. Heck, just let people buy the Ashbringer off the store. Why not? If you know a vanilla fanboy out there that needs to hear this message, send it to him and let him know that we're all on the same side. We all just want a great Classic WoW experience. I understand that, but it's not going to happen if the community's divided and nobody's open-minded to new ideas and suggestions. It's really fun to speculate on these things, and this video was inspired because of that last video I made, the difference between Classic and Vanilla, and it got a ton of hate. It was hilarious in the comment section. But I was playing the vanilla fanboy part, but it really made me take off the rose-tinted glasses and step back and think about this for the first time. And you know what? Changes, a finished vanilla WoW experience would be so much better than hashtag no changes. Is it gonna happen? Absolutely not. Maybe hashtag no changes is the best route, the best conclusion from here. Whatever you've come up with, whatever your conclusion would be, the best thing for Classic WoW, I want to hear about it in the comment section below. We're going to chat it up. I want to see y'all down there. As for now, grace for days. We out.